Hi, I'm Raylene. My sister told me I wasn't welcome for Thanksgiving, said it would just keep the peace. But that wasn't the first time they pushed me aside. They used my name to take out loans, drained my accounts, even opened a secret bank account behind my back. And the worst part? My own mother helped them do it. I stayed silent for years, but not this time. So what finally broke me? And why did I cancel their mortgage payments without saying a word? I was standing at the kitchen counter, half a cup of coffee left cold beside my laptop, when I opened the family group chat. There it was. Pictures of Carla's turkey centerpiece idea, Travis chiming in with "looks great, babe," and Mom replying with 3 heart emojis. But not one mention of my name, not one word about my RSVP from 2 days ago. I typed, deleted, then typed again. Should I bring dessert this year, or is someone else covering that? Message sent. I waited. An hour passed, then 2. Still no reply, just more chatter between them about wine pairings and seat arrangements. I stared at the screen like it might blink back some logic. I picked up the phone and called Mom. She answered on the 4th ring, her voice lower than usual. "Honey, hey, everything okay?" I cut to it. "Just wondering if there's a reason no one's responding about Thanksgiving." A pause. A rustle like she was covering the mouthpiece. Then, "Well, Carla thought it might be best this year if maybe you sat this one out, just to keep the peace." Keep the peace. I felt that phrase slam against my chest like a cold slap. I swallowed hard. So, I'm the threat to peace now? No, sweetie, no one said that. It's just, Carla's been feeling overwhelmed, and Travis has had a lot going on at work. And the kids, are you seriously justifying this? She sighed, worn and tired. "I'm in a tough spot, Raylene. I love you both. Please don't make this harder." I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I just said, "You already did." 2 days later was my birthday. I baked my own cake, carrot like always, and waited. No knock at the door, no car in the driveway, just a voicemail. "Hey baby, I wanted to come by, I really did, but Carla thinks it would just bring tension. I'm sorry. We'll celebrate another day, okay? Love you." I stood in my kitchen with a slice untouched on the plate, the voicemail looping in my mind like static. Later that night, I pulled out old photo albums from under the coffee table. There I was, holding Carla's baby at Thanksgiving while she drank wine and laughed. There I was again, bringing trays of food, setting the table, cleaning up plates. Always there, always working, always giving. Yet here I was, alone, cast out like I'd never belonged. Maybe this Thanksgiving I should give them exactly what they want. The next morning, I brewed a fresh pot of coffee, half out of habit, half to distract myself from the staleness settling over my house. I opened Facebook on my phone, expecting the usual photos of coworkers' kids and political rants, but something caught my eye right away. A banner photo, pink and gold balloons. A caption, "Can't believe my baby girl is turning 10. Birthday bash this Saturday, #momlife, #blessed Carla." I stared at the image for a while, the comments pouring in from her friends. No mention of me, of course, but I didn't want to read too much into it. Maybe it was just a post. Maybe she hadn't sent invites yet. I set my mug down, walked to the closet, and pulled out a small box I'd kept for months. A necklace shaped like a star, the same design I gave her when she was 5. A silly tradition, one I thought mattered. That Saturday, curiosity got the better of me. I told myself I was just running errands on that side of town. But somehow, I found myself driving past Carla's house. Cars lined both sides of the street, bright balloons tied to the mailbox, laughter spilling out onto the lawn, children running around in princess dresses. I slowed the car, pretending to check my GPS, even though I knew this neighborhood by heart. My niece's face flashed in the window for a second. Someone handed her a giant gift bag. I couldn't look away. I wasn't on that guest list. Hell, I wasn't even on the radar. I drove off. Later that night, I picked up the phone and dialed Carla. She picked up with a breathy, distracted, "Hey." "Hey," I replied. "I saw online that it was your daughter's birthday party today." "Yep," she said. No emotion, just flat. "I didn't get an invite." A beat of silence. Then, with a tired sigh, "She didn't want to see you, Raylene. She said so herself." My throat tightened. "What?" "She's old enough to decide who she wants around, and she said it would be weird if you came." I tried to laugh, something brittle and awkward. She used to beg to come stay with me on weekends. That was years ago, Carla replied. Things change. I hung up before she could say anything else, before I lost whatever grip I had left. Later, as I sat on my bed staring at the necklace box, I thought about that Christmas morning 3 years ago, when I'd spent half my paycheck on that dollhouse she'd wanted. Carla was too sick to get out of bed, and I'd braided her daughter's hair, packed her school lunch, and stayed overnight. She loved me then. I was her safe place. So what changed her mind? Or who did? The next morning, I stepped into my home office to check emails, but a new alert stole my attention. Credit activity reported. I hadn't opened any accounts or made big purchases. My stomach clenched. Clicking through, I saw it. My name tied to a personal loan I never applied for. A 5-figure amount issued 2 weeks ago. I called the bank's fraud department. After an hour of automated menus and being put on hold, a rep finally emailed me the loan agreement. I opened the PDF. There it was. My signature. But it wasn't recent. It was from an old co-signed form, 5 years back when Carla and Travis needed help getting their car refinanced. They kept my paperwork. They reused it. I sat frozen. My own handwriting stared back at me, twisted into a weapon. There was only one person who'd benefit, and who had access. Travis. He'd begged me for a loan 6 months ago, said he was rebuilding his credit, but I turned him down. He hadn't taken it well. I pulled open a drawer and flipped through my old files. Sure enough, I found the original form, same handwriting, same layout. The only difference? The date and the purpose. I called Carla immediately. "Hey," she answered, chipper, like nothing had happened. "I need to ask you something serious," I said, skipping the pleasantries. "Did Travis use my name for a loan?" A long pause, then a soft laugh. "Oh my God, is that what this is about? It's nothing, Raylene. Just a mix-up." "A mix-up? He forged my name." "No one forged anything. It was just recycled. You've signed for us before. Don't make this into a thing." I tightened my grip on the phone. "I'm going to the police." Her voice dropped an octave. "Jesus, Raylene, don't be so dramatic. It's just money. You act like we robbed you." "You did." She hung up. Still shaking, I called Mom. Told her everything. How I'd been used, lied to, how this crossed every line. Mom stayed quiet, and then said something that stopped me cold. "Maybe I just didn't want you to end up like your father." "What?" "You're so driven, Raylene. You've worked hard. I just didn't want you marrying some broke man like I did." I stared at the wall. "You left Dad because he was poor." Silence. All this time, was I just useful until I wasn't? That Friday, I was catching up on invoices when another fraud alert flashed across my phone. A $3,548 charge at Oak Plus Vine Interiors, a luxury furniture store uptown. I blinked. I hadn't used that emergency credit card in over a year. I kept it locked in my safe. I called the number listed. The woman on the line confirmed the transaction, cheerful as ever. It was a leather sectional, paid in full. Travis Langford picked it up himself. My heart dropped. "And you're sure it was on a card under Raylene Morris?" "Yes, ma'am. He said you were his co-signer and authorized it." I hung up before my temper boiled over the edge. Later that day, I drove straight to Carla's house. She answered in workout gear, sipping an iced coffee like she had no idea what kind of mess was spinning behind her. "You want to explain why Travis just used my credit card like it was his?" I asked, standing in her doorway. She didn't even blink. "You have better credit. It's not like it hurts you. You're out of your damn mind if you think I'm okay with this. You've always helped. What's one more time?" "That was theft, Carla. I'm cutting the card off today and reporting it." She scoffed. "Wow, you're such a martyr. You act like helping your family is a crime." "It is when no one respects the help." I turned and walked off before she could twist the knife deeper. That evening, still shaking, I called Mom. I expected her to gasp, to finally say, "Enough." Instead, she sighed. "I knew they needed some help. I didn't think it would go that far." "You knew?" I whispered. "I've been giving Carla a little something each month. She's raising 2 kids. You don't understand what it's like to be in that spot." "With what money?" I already knew the answer before she spoke. The money you send me, I thought it was okay. I thought you wouldn't miss it. I nearly dropped the phone. I gave you that to help with your rent, your meds. I used some for that. The rest went to Carla. She needed it. No apology, no shame. I stared out the window, watching a neighbor rake leaves with his son. Clean, simple, uncomplicated. It hit me all at once. I'd been propping up a family who never saw me as one of their own. I wasn't the safety net. I was the cushion they'd been stepping on to reach higher. That Sunday, I drove to Mom's. Not to yell, not to cry. Just to tell her where the line now stood. She opened the door with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, and we sat at the kitchen table, me with coffee, her with nerves. I know why you're here, she said, voice low. But baby, can't you just help one more time? I stared at her. Carla's drowning, Raylene. Travis is a mess. The kids need her steady. You've always been the one holding it together. Just a little more, just this once. She said it like she was asking me to hold a bag of groceries, not carry the emotional debt of a fractured family. I set my cup down. It's never just once, and it's never little. Her lip trembled, eyes watery. We're family. No, I said, we're a drain with blood ties. I stood up. That should have been the end. But as I reached for my purse in the hallway, I caught her voice from the bedroom, low, rushed. I paused. The door was cracked. Jacob yells at her all the time, controlling, you know? He's not who Raylene thinks he is. I worry. Carla, I froze. She was lying about Jacob, painting him as an abuser, to get more money, more sympathy, from the one woman I thought might still be neutral. I waited until the call ended. When I stepped back into the kitchen, Mom looked up, startled. Everything okay? I didn't answer, just said, You need to hear something. I told her what I'd heard. Her reaction? Not shock, not denial, just tired confusion. Maybe Carla misunderstood him. Maybe he snapped one time. She's lying, Mom. You know it. And if you give her another cent, if one more dollar goes her way, we're done. She didn't argue. She didn't stop me when I walked out. Back home, Jacob was working in the garage. I sat on the couch, keys still in hand. He came in, wiping his hands on a rag. Everything okay? I looked up at him. They don't get to keep writing this story. I do. The next morning, I made 3 calls, one to the bank, one to the credit bureau, and one to my financial advisor. By noon, every account with Carla or Travis's name was frozen, closed, or removed. The auto payments? Gone. Emergency credit line? Shut. Then I drafted the email. Effective immediately, I am no longer responsible for any financial obligations tied to Carla or Travis. Do not contact me for further assistance. Send, block, done. For the first time in months, I exhaled without bitterness catching in my throat. By nightfall, my silence shattered. The voicemails came first. Travis's voice sharp and fast. Real classy, Raylene. Leaving us high and dry. You think you're better than us now? Then Carla's texts. You selfish witch. You'll regret this. You always wanted to watch us fall, didn't you? Jacob sat beside me, phone on the coffee table vibrating nonstop. Don't reply, he said. They want a reaction. But I didn't need to answer. I needed to watch. And wait. Because 3 days later, a fraud alert pinged from my bank. Someone had tried to open a business checking account with my social security number and an old utility bill still in my name. I sat at my desk while the fraud agent read off the flagged address. It was Carla's. I didn't yell. I didn't even flinch. I just stood, grabbed my keys, and paced the kitchen while Jacob watched, eyes wide. She didn't just step over the line, I said through gritted teeth. She lit it on fire. I pulled out a legal pad from the drawer, flipped it open. Jacob came closer. You want me to call someone? No, I said, already writing. I'm calling the lawyer myself. The morning after my call to the lawyer, I found a thick manila envelope wedged in my mailbox. No return address. My name typed in bold, legal font. I opened it on the kitchen counter, my hands already tight with dread. Inside, court summons. A lawsuit had been filed in my name for a $24,000 business loan. My chest tightened. I hadn't signed anything, but there it was, my name listed as co-signer. Jacob skimmed through the papers beside me. This is forged. Again. It was Travis. The man had faked my signature before. This time, he'd gone bigger. Legal. This time, Jacob said firmly, we fight in court. I nodded, already moving to the office to scan and email every page to my attorney. Later that afternoon, I called Mom. I needed her to hear it from me. Maybe for once she'd take a side. She didn't. Honey, you always blow these things out of proportion. Mom, it's a lawsuit, not a misunderstanding. Silence. That night, Carla called. Her voice was syrupy sweet at first. I really think we need to stop all this. It's exhausting. Then, just beneath the sweetness, maybe if you weren't so cold, if you'd been warmer to us, maybe none of this would have happened. There it was again, the flip, the guilt, the gaslight. I gripped the phone, remembering all the times Carla skipped out on dishes while I scrubbed pans. The times I covered her rent, drove her daughter to school, paid for family vacations she never thanked me for. You don't get to rewrite this, I whispered. Not this time. After hanging up, I printed every document, made copies, and organized a file. Jacob handed me a USB with recordings and screenshots we'd saved. I wrote my final text to Carla. The next time you hear from me, it'll be through legal counsel. I deleted her contact. The next morning, I sat with my laptop and coffee, already drafting the paperwork with my lawyer on the line. But before we got too deep, Jacob placed a hand on my shoulder and said, "You should talk to Powers." I paused. "The tax attorney?" "She's more than that. She handles corporate fraud. Trust me." By noon, we were in her office. Miss Powers wore a slate gray suit and a gaze that didn't flinch. She reviewed every file, flipped through the forged loan, fake credit usage, and opened a second screen to pull up state legal codes. "They violated both state and federal law," she said without blinking. "Multiple counts. It's going to be ugly, but it's also going to be yours to win." She moved fast, faster than I expected. Within 48 hours, she had frozen every account tied to my name and filed cease and desist notices to every creditor connected to Carla or Travis. A sense of stillness washed over me, like the moment just before a storm clears. And suddenly, I wasn't holding the shield anymore. I had the sword. That night, I found myself scrolling through old photos on my phone. One from Thanksgiving 5 years ago caught my eye. Jacob in a wrinkled button-up, carving turkey while Carla rolled her eyes at his shoes. "Why are you with someone still in training?" she had said, loud enough for the whole room to hear. "Is ambition too much to ask for?" Back then, I just smiled through it, defended him quietly, to anyone who asked. Now, he was the one defending me. He was the calm in the chaos, the wall they couldn't scale. Miss Powers moved forward with filing formal fraud reports. My name was removed from the debt. The mortgage, previously paid through my automatic transfers, was canceled. The bank began foreclosure on Carla's house. I didn't celebrate. I just watched the phone light up with Carla's name over and over, messages begging, screaming, blaming. I didn't read them. I didn't need to. I blocked her, again. Then I wrote one last thing, a certified letter sent through an overnight courier. "You were never entitled to my life, or my money. Goodbye." The last of the court letters had been filed. The accounts closed, the mortgage canceled. It was over, at least on paper. The eviction notice for Carla and Travis came 2 weeks later. A neighbor I vaguely knew from childhood messaged me on Facebook. "So sorry to hear about your family. Can't believe they dragged you into that mess." Turns out, when people find out who's been footing the bill all these years, they stop feeling bad for the ones living large on lies. Carla's version of events unraveled quickly once the facts caught up with the fantasy. Still, I didn't gloat. I didn't forward screenshots or send smug replies. I just logged off. Mom tried calling the next week, left a voicemail about how we're still family and she never wanted this to happen. But I didn't return the call, not out of hatred, just clarity. I was done trying to stitch myself into a picture I was never invited to be part of. Instead, I turned back to my life. I restarted therapy, this time with a new counselor. One who didn't rush to ask about forgiveness, but rather focused on boundaries, self-worth, and silence that heals. I picked up my paintbrush again, joined a community art group, the kind of space where no one asked what your sister thought of you, only what colors moved you this week. Jacob and I opened a savings account together, something that symbolized building, not bailing people out. One night over tacos, he looked at me and said, "You finally chose yourself." And I did. Not out of revenge, but because I was tired of bleeding for people who never bothered to stop the knife. A month later, I stopped by Mom's house. She wasn't expecting me. I didn't come with a lecture or another warning. I came with a note, handwritten and sealed. "I love you, but I love myself now too." I left it on the kitchen table, next to her half-finished crossword puzzle. On the drive home, I didn't cry. I didn't feel empty. I didn't feel triumphant either. Just light. Peace, it turns out, isn't the absence of chaos. It's the decision to stop dancing in someone else's storm. Some battles leave no bruises, but we walk differently afterward. You know, if there's one thing this whole journey taught me, it's that boundaries aren't betrayal. Choosing peace over chaos, choosing yourself over being used, that's not selfish. That's survival. For so long I thought love meant tolerating pain, staying silent, and holding a family together no matter how much it cost me. But real love, it doesn't drain you. It protects, it respects. It stands with you, not on you. If you're watching this and you've been the giver, the fixer, the quiet backbone, no one thanks. I see you. And it's okay to stop. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. I'm still healing. Some days I miss the idea of family, but I found something better, a life that belongs to me. Now I'm curious. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved just to protect yourself? Or maybe you're still caught in the middle, afraid of what'll happen if you say, enough? I'd love to hear your story. If this video resonated with you, drop a 1 in the comments or just tell me where you're watching from. And hey, if it didn't sit right with you, I'm open. Tell me why. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another story like this, because sometimes hearing someone else's truth helps you finally speak your own. I'm Raylene, and this time, I chose me.